welcome to Real Life Cooking. Chefleen here. Today we are cooking crab. We have a large peanut gallery that's making noise in the background. Let me just go on Instagram really quick. Like I said, why do I always forget how to do this? There we go. Alright, so let's see. Perfect. Hey Instagram, welcome to Real Life Cooking with Chefleen. Happy summer, it's midsummer now. Summer's actually almost over, it's kind of sad. Are we getting, oh, hey Cipritronic, nice to see you from the living room.
Hi.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Life Cooking, the show where I make a meal from start to finish, and you can cook along, you can watch, you can ask any culinary questions in the box below, because we have our technological guru, TT Lio, here on the ones and twos. She relies all of your questions to me. So don't be afraid to chime in, talk, say hi. She might not say hi to me, but maybe she will, you know, depends how she feels today. But today we are making two summer favorites on the behalf of my lovely boyfriend, Christopher. We are making two of his favorites, crab and corn. We're gonna be making snow crab today, which is actually super easy to make in your house. And you can avoid paying like $1 million at a restaurant for it. And of course, you know, I had to hook up the corn a little bit more than just making regular boiled corn. So we're gonna be making elote, which is a Mexican style, Mexican inspired corn. It has like cheese and mayonnaise, and it just turns like something that's really not the best for you, even something that's not even that much better, but tastes so good. So can't wait to dive in for that. So the first thing that we're gonna do when cooking crab is take out the crab. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to cook all of this crab in the same pot. This is almost 4 pounds of snow crab legs. These are frozen, and now if you've watched the show before, I'm probably always like fresh everything. In this case, it's going to be unless you're cooking live crab, which snow crab doesn't come live, like it's really hard to find it. Unless you're cooking fresh crab like Maryland blue crabs, all the crab you're going to get is going to be frozen. That is because crustaceans, crab especially, is very easy it goes bad really fast. So most of the time, like on the Alaska shipping boats, they catch it and then they freeze it and then they ship it to you from like that. So this is, like I said, snow crab. So these, and generally they sell snow crab with just the leg portions. I don't think I've ever seen snow crab like sold as a whole crab. So they're pretty big animals. Like if you can imagine, that would be like the body would be like right there somehow. And there's 3 parts of the snow crab. There's this cluster part, this leg part, and then the quad, which is only one on each side of the animal. Like I said, snow crabs are going to be probably the easiest to find. King crab is also a favorite of people. They say that the meat is like more delicious and just more delicious and like tender, but it's really expensive. King crab is going to be like 30 pounds, and you're only going to get like 1 leg. It's a giant leg, but it's really expensive for what you're getting. So budget here, budget friendly, is snow crab. I'm going to just get my water started back here. So like I said, all of this is probably not going to fit in this pan, but I'm going to fill the pan up to about this level right here, like a fourth of the way. And then we're going to get that starting to steam for us. Question.
Can you use a tall, deep pan for this?
Yes, you can use a tall, deep pan for this, but you're still going to use about the same amount of water. You can also boil your crab. So there's a few ways to make crab. Oh, let me turn this on while I'm talking. There's a few ways to make crab. You can steam, boil, bake, smoke, or broil it. Obviously you need like a grill or a smoker to smoke it. Baking it and broiling it are a little bit different. We'll get into those. Steaming and boiling are probably the easiest to do. I suggest steaming over boiling, because if you boil it, you're going to get your crab really waterlogged. And if you steam it, what's actually going to happen is as the crab heats up, the juices of the crab are just going to heat it up, and it's going to be nice and delicious and good. As opposed to boiling it, it's the easiest, you just dip it in, but it also tends to overcook your crab a little bit more. Like I said, this crab is already cooked, so we don't need to like boil it vigorously for very, very long periods of time. Now, another tip, because I don't have a steamer rack here, I'm gonna actually just kind of create my own. If you have like an aluminum pie tin, you can poke holes in that and flip it over and put it in the bottom of your pan. But another trick is to just take some aluminum foil and kind of make balls. So then when my crab goes in the pot, it's kind of just going to sit on top of the balls right here. Now, this might not be great for my audience here, because my audience likes a lot of flavor. But I'm just going to simply steam my crab. Everyone's peering at me over here. I'm just going to simply steam it in just water. I'm going to add a few cloves of garlic and some garlic powder. I might actually, let's be fancy and add in some lemon slices too. But crab is super hard, so how much flavor, if you're steaming, is that steam actually going to penetrate through the shell? Not that much, so you're kind of just wasting ingredients there. Now, if you were smothering your crab in like a ton of butter and like seasonings, then all that butter is going to get on this on the shell, and as you eat it, you'll get all that flavor. You just like lick the shell as well. But we're not doing that because we are going. I'm a dipper. I like dipping my crab into things.
You're the odd. Odd.
Yes, selfishly. Question?
How do you make crab, like the crab boil with all the like Cajun spices in the bag?
Okay, so the question was, how do you make like a Cajun boil? So it's really simple to do. You would want to boil your potatoes, boil your corn first. Actually, you don't necessarily have to boil your corn. It just depends on how well done you like your corn. But definitely you got to boil your potatoes first because they're going to take a lot longer to cook than your crab. And then you get one of those big turkey roaster bags. Have you seen at Thanksgiving? And then you just put everything in with like all the seasonings that you want, butter, and then just put it in the oven for like 10-15 minutes. But that's why it's really important for your potatoes to be boiled, because otherwise you're going to take it out and your potatoes will be hard. So like I said, I'm going to add in a little bit of garlic to this. Garlic powder. Oh, let me get my garlic slices. I'm not going to eat these, obviously, so I can just smush them and put them directly in the water. I don't need to actually chop them up or anything. If you're just, how many?
How many cloves? Yeah.
As many as you want, honestly. I'm going to put the rest of this head, which is about 4 of them, in this water. Again, it's all up to you. But like I said, the steaming method doesn't impart so much flavor in the crab. You're just going to really get that nice, delicious crab flavor, pure crab flavor, because it's kind of like the cleanest way. Do you have a question? Oh.
Just watching over her.
All right. Just looking. The other thing we do definitely want to put in this water is some salt. So, and a good amount of salt. This, like I said, it's not going to penetrate to the crab. It's just that flavor. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Hopefully your crab fits in your pot. We might have to do several variations of this, or not variations. So where do you buy crab is another great question. So here in Harlem, they have a lot of seafood markets that, when you walk by them, they actually smell like seafood. I try to avoid those actually, because even though obviously your food is gonna smell like whatever it is, you don't want it to smell so strongly. Like whenever you're buying, I'm gonna just put these back in the freezer for now. And TT, can you take the time, like 7 to 8 minutes? It honestly depends on how big your crab is. And unfortunately, there's no real like super way to tell if your crab is done. You just kind of have to look and know. I mean, you can crack one open and see. And again, it's cooked already, so you're not gonna make sure you ask your fishmonger if it's cooked. But it's cooked already, so you're not gonna die if it's cold and you taste it. You can just throw it back in the pot. It's way better to do that. Yeah, it's way better to do that than to overcook your crab. Question.
Do they only come cooked? Or can you buy
most,
it uncooked?
You can't, most snow crab and Alaskan cream crab are already gonna be cooked.
Okay.
Because if you have ever seen a live crab, they're a totally different color, just like shrimp. Mm-hmm. Shrimp are like grayish brown, and then when you cook them, they're pink. That's why this crab is already pink, because it'd be more red if it wasn't cooked. So it's kind of like smoked bacon. Like you won't die if you eat raw bacon, but you don't want to. Also, you don't really want to eat cold crab in a boil sort of situation. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and get some butter, the flavored butter going for us. So let's go ahead and pull out the butter, which I never took my butter out the freezer. So butter is super expensive. I don't know if you've noticed this. Like literally one of these in the grocery store is like $8 for 4 sticks of butter. Question?
Do you buy salted or unsalted butter?
I always buy unsalted butter. Then you can control the amount of seasonings that you're gonna put into it yourself. especially if you're going to use like a seasoning salt or something like that, because then it's just going to be really, really salty. But a tip for viewers at home, if you are appalled by the prices of butter, you can buy your butter from Costco in bulk. Like, you get 4 of them. I think it's like $12. I might be lying. $12 or $14, which is a very good deal considering one is like $8. And if you live in New York, Instacart delivers and you don't need a membership. Isn't that amazing? It's the best thing ever. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my butter into this back burner over here and let it start melting down. One more note about the crab, and then I'm also gonna get some more garlic going. One more note about the crab. So frozen crabs, there's like, I was reading a lot about the debate whether to defrost your crab before you cook it. And what I concluded was that it's easier to overcook your crab if it's frozen, but it's harder to defrost it, if that makes sense. Like, you have to either leave it in the fridge for 24 hours. So if you are a planner or header, then that's not that difficult for you. You know you're going to be cooking crab, and you can have the time to defrost it, because you definitely want to defrost it in the fridge, because otherwise, like, it could go rancid. And or you could run it under cold water for 20 to 30 minutes. Question?
Yeah. Comment. Cara Ra says, "Hi, Chefleen."
Oh, hello. How are you? Hopefully staying cool. Also, it's 1,000,000 degrees in New York, just FYI if you're not living here. And so this is a really great meal because it takes very quick to cook. We're not going to be standing over the stove slaving away. The stove is doing all the work for us, and the stove doesn't have to be on for that long. So as you can see, I'm just peeling some garlic. The best way to peel it, I find, is to just take off the top and bottom and then just kind of peel it off like that. Now for the butter, this whole butter situation, I'm putting a ton of garlic in here, like probably almost all of this.
Wow.
Wow. This garlic is pretty old too, so it's going to be stronger in flavor. The longer you have your garlic sitting around, the stronger in flavor it's going to be. Question?
What brand of butter are you using, and what brand do you recommend, if any?
That's a good question. It depends what your budget is, because there are really great, like, high-fat butters that literally cost like $8 for just 2 sticks. One of them is called Plugra. It's like a European brand, because if you've ever been to Europe, you know their butter and cream and cheese is like so much better than American butter and cheese, and that's like a European brand. So I would definitely, if you want to spend the money, that is like one of the best. What's popping back here? And then, like I said, I'm just using Costco butter just for budgetary purposes. We kind of use a lot of butter in this house, like for breakfast and stuff. So, and it's not like, I mean, I guess for crab oil, if you really want to be fancy, like the high-end butter would be better. But, I mean, dang, I'm kind of torn here, because I would say it's all about the crab, but it kind of is all about the butter too when you're eating the crab.
What about Land O'Lakes?
But you need so much butter, so that's another thing. Land O'Lake, I mean,
What's expensive when I'm in the grocery
you think
store?
Land O'Lake is expensive?
It's usually a little bit more expensive than Trader Joe's.
Oh, then does Trader Joe's have its own brand of butter? I don't shop at Trader Joe's so often. Oh, they do?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Oh, well, whatever. It doesn't, honestly, for the average home chef, it honestly doesn't matter. You know, maybe do a butter tasting and see one day when you're feeling fancy, and like see what you like the best and see if you can afford that for a month. The $8 butter. All right, my butter is back here popping because it was frozen. So butter is made out of 3 different things: fat, water, and milk proteins. If you've ever seen that butter in like restaurants, the clarified butter or the drawn butter, then that is actually butter that has been boiled long enough that the milk solids have risen to the top, and then they skim those off, so all that you're left with is all that delicious like fat, and there's no water and no milk solids left. So it's like a very clean tasting butter. It's also known as ghee. The great thing about that is it's vegan. Not that it matters if you're eating crab, but the clarified butter is vegan because there's no milk left inside of it. And it has a higher shelf life, like it can last longer than regular butter. Although if you keep your butter in the freezer, butter can last a very long time too. So I don't know if we're gonna have the time to make clarified butter, because what it takes is keeping the butter on a very low temperature so all those milk solids go to the top and then you kind of scrape them off. And it has to be at a low heat because if you do it too high, your butter's just gonna burn. Question.
You can buy clarified butter, right?
Yeah, you
Tastes
can.
the same?
Yeah, and I don't think it tastes quite the same. Like recently, I've just started seeing them. They sell it liquid form, like this ghee. They also sell it like in more solid form where you scrape it out, kind of like coconut. It's kind of like coconut. Also, it's like I said, it's 1,000,000 degrees in here, so obviously this is gonna be liquid. But in the winter, this actually might turn solid. Oh, it's been 7 minutes. All right, so we're gonna check our crab back here. It's looking even more red and smelling delicious. So what I'm gonna do, obviously, I'm gonna touch it, see if it feels hot. This actually does feel hot. But the other thing I wanna do is take it out because obviously the legs have less surface area. These legs have less surface area than this area right here, the cluster in here. And this is where all the delicious great meat is. So I just touched it. This is still cold. So, question?
What's the difference between butter and margarine?
The difference between butter and margarine, wait 1 second, I'll get to that question in a second. So I just touched this crab and it's still cold right here, so obviously it's not done and delicious. So I'm gonna put it right back in there and cover it with my lid again. The difference between butter and margarine is butter is a product derived from animals, like there's actually milk solids in it. Margarine is all oil, so it's like made out of canola oil. And it's actually vegan too. So if you're vegan and you want the taste of butter, like, you know, remember, I can't believe it's not butter. That's margarine.
Not butter.
Yeah, it's not butter. But some people actually prefer the taste of that over actual butter.
Don't trust them.
Don't trust them. All right, so I'm gonna prepare my garlic for my butter in 2 different ways. I'm gonna use my favorite tool, which you haven't seen in a while, my rasp grater, and I'm gonna grate some of it, and then the rest of it I'm just gonna slice up just for presentation purposes. And I hear my butter going back there, so I'm gonna need to check it in a second. Or else I will end up with something called brown butter, which is just what it sounds like, butter that is brown. But it can easily become black butter if you're not paying attention.
Does it taste the same?
Does it taste the same? No, not at all. Brown butter is delicious and tastes like has like a nutty quality to it, and black butter just tastes burnt because the milk solids in it have burnt away. Or not burnt away, they burnt. And that's kind of like the one mistake you can't fix in cooking is if you burn something, unless, you know, you scrape away the burnt toast or you're that kind of person. All right, hello everyone. If you are just joining us, welcome to Real Life Cooking with Chefleen. We make a meal from scratch to finish, from start to finish within an hour. Today we are making crab legs and elote, 2 summer staples, at least in my house. So right now I'm grating my garlic for our butter that's going back there. We have our butter melting. We have 2 crab clusters going, which will be enough for like half of a person in this house right now. And I'm just grating this garlic. The reason I'm grating some of it and slicing some of it is because this grated garlic is gonna have such more of intense flavor than the sliced garlic. The sliced garlic is gonna add flavor, of course, but the more like ground up something is, the more concentrated its flavor is going to be. Question,
what are some other good sides to have with crab legs?
you know, that's a really good question because as Chris and I were talking about this week's episode, I was like, well, what goes with crab unless you're getting a crab boil? But if you wanted to just do crab like this, like maybe potato, I would still stick with the potato and corn theme, like maybe a potato salad or like a corn and bean salad. Even honestly, just like a nice big green salad, especially in the summer, would be a nice accompaniment. In the winter, mashed potatoes would be amazing, like especially if you smother them in all this like Cajun-y sauce or any kind of sauce that you like. Even like nice like crispy vegetables like string beans, broccoli even. I would stay away from like spinach or Swiss chard. Not to say you can't eat it, but I just wouldn't pair it. It doesn't automatically, I don't think of pairing those things. So I want to show you guys my butter, which doesn't really look like much and you guys also can't see it. But you can see, well, you can't really see, and I also don't want to burn myself with this hot butter, just basically oil. There's like some white stuff that has risen to the top, and that's those milk solids that are starting to evaporate. So I'm going to put that back over there. And question.
We'll comment. And truffles?
Truffles of what?
That was the comment.
Oh, crab and truffles? I've never had crab and truffles. You know what would be really good? I think crab and truffle pasta. Because crab is a really light flavor. so it would stand up well next to the, or maybe, yeah, I think not stand up, but it would like complement the strong flavor of the truffles. So I am just over here slicing this garlic. And our butter, it smells like butter and crab. It's like the best smell ever in this house. If you guys have any comments or questions, please drop them below. TT will relay them to me, culinary or otherwise. Doesn't have to deal with crab. You can just pop them on in.
I have a question.
Question.
Can you do the same thing with other type of crustaceans like lobster, etc.?
Yes, you can do this exact same cooking method with lobster. Obviously, it would be a longer cook time because most of the time lobsters are not already cooked. You're actually having to say goodbye to them, say their last little lives. So lobsters, I think, when I cooked a lot of lobster for one of my clients last summer, they ate lobster like every Friday. I think like the perfect timing, and again, it's really hard to say the perfect timing for crustaceans because they're always different sizes. But like a 1.5 lobster, 1.5 pound, was about like 15 to 17 minutes. Steaming it though, I never boiled it. I really think that steaming is the trick here. Okay, so this feels, now, earlier you saw me take this out and I touched it right here and it was still frozen cold. So now this feels good to go. So I'm gonna just take this out onto, if you can, over here dropping stuff. Oh. See, I told you guys this is real life cooking. I do real life cooking to show that you can do it too. If I could talk to you and do all this stuff, you could definitely do this in your own home. So I don't really prepare that much before to show you real life is what happens. So I have protein powder in this pan that I was gonna put this in and it got inside. So I'm gonna rinse it out because you don't want protein powder of crab legs. All right. So I'm just gonna take these crab legs out. They've cooked about what do you say, like 12 minutes, 15 minutes?
13 minutes.
13 minutes, yeah. So these are done. And I have more, so I'm gonna add some more to there while we, look at that
One
deliciousness.
serving.
So fun fact, one serving. So fun fact about crab, I actually didn't really like crab that much until 2 years ago when Chris turned me on to the deliciousness of crab. He is from Maryland, and apparently crab is like really big down there, I guess. I don't know. But
That's a blue crab.
yes, blue crabs are his absolute favorite. They are also way harder to eat. It took me longer to come along to the blue crab lifestyle than the snow crab because they come in different sizes. They're small, medium, and large. There's also male and female versions of them. Which are better, do you think?
It depends.
It depends. The verdict is out over which is better, female or male. But there's 3 different sizes of them, and they, contrary to the snow crab where we're only getting the legs and the body, they come full like little crabs, just like this. And you actually, most of the time, are gonna have to kill them because that's when they're best. And they're always made with Old Bay, right? Like they never cook crabs without crab seasoning.
People cook them with beer and all that.
Oh really? Oh, see, this biased household, I thought you only ate crab with Old Bay. But yeah, you can cook them. Basically, you steam them or boil them just the same as you do this. I think they take a little less time to cook, especially if you're only cooking a few of them. And like I said, they're a lot more work to eat. This needs to stick inside. But they are pretty delicious, especially if you have a chance to go down. Oh, see, look, I'm over here talking. My butter just became brown. But it's actually it's savable. So this is what I was talking about earlier. You guys are all looking at this like, this is not savable. But all of those brown bits on the bottom are the milk solids that have solidified now. And so now I can scrape that out. So hopefully once I scrape out this white milk solids that came to the top, this will be nice and clear. I'm gonna let that just hang out by itself for a second so I do not hurt myself. Actually, you know what I can do? I can show you. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my strainer and then I'm also gonna put a piece of paper towel on my strainer. And then I'm gonna pour this butter through there. Now, if you wanna be a little more efficient, but I don't have time to wait till this cools down, you can scrape off some of this white, can you guys see? Some of that white foam on top. But I'm just gonna pour it through. Go for it. So what we're doing is straining out any of those little brown bits and all of that milk solids. So actually, you can see how brown does the butter look, guys?
A little brown.
It's a little brown.
A little brown.
It's because I was talking to you. I expect you guys to do better at home. Do not talk to people while you're trying to clarify butter. But it's not like burnt brown. Burnt brown would be not this color. It would be really ugly.
What are some good uses for brown butter?
Some good uses for brown butter are when you're cooking any kind of fish. Actually, if you like seared fish and then put butter in at the very end, and then let it get brown, that's super good, especially with like capers or something like that.
Gnocchi.
What else is a good use of brown butter?
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi, yes. Actually, I had a really good recipe once for brown butter chocolate chip cookies. So instead of like blending your butter and sugar together or creaming your butter and sugar together at the beginning, you would actually melt the brown butter and then you would add it in. It added really like nice intense flavor to your cookies. All right, so see, now I keep showing you guys this. I really want you to see this. These little brown bits, those are all the milk solids. So technically, our butter is now vegan. Although I'm sure it's not like the most vegan butter you could have. All right. So now let's move on while our second batch of crab is steaming over there. Let's move on to, first, I want to add in my garlic while this butter is still hot. And as you can see, it kind of boiled up because the butter is super hot. But anytime you add garlic to something, you want to definitely add it when it's hot because it's going to infuse with the flavor a lot more. So we'll just add in all that garlic. We worked so hard to chop up, and now we can just move this to the side. And we can get started on our elote. So,
That's fire though.
huh?
Fire though.
You still have fire
Oh, I know. I need it for the corn. So elote is corn in Spanish. Elote is Mexican style corn that is coated with mayonnaise, butter, cheese, and lemon or lime juice, and then eaten to delicious perfection. There's a lot of different ways that you can prepare your corn for this. You can just simply boil it, which I don't honestly like boiled corn that much unless it's with a lot of butter. But what I'm going to do is roast it over the fire. So I'm just going to rinse these off really quick. I'm going to... What happened? Are you laughing at roasting over the fire?
No, I was saying what if it makes popcorn?
Oh, it could, potentially. If you have a grill, that's the best way to do this. Another great, I'm like a Costco salesperson. Another great Costco buy, corn for $8, or not $8, but 8 pieces of corn.
a sponsored show?
I know, right? Costco, give me your dollars. All right, so for our elote, I'm just gonna grill my corn in my indoor grill over here. And it's obviously very simple to do. You just put it on the grill. Question?
Comment. Dean Wakefield.
Oh,
Sorry,
hi,
Dean. Dean Wakefield says, miss you, darling.
Oh, hi, Dean. Are you still on the ship? What are you doing with your life? You met Dean, remember Dean?
Yeah, that's why I was like, we not know his last name.
All right, so for our elote, I'm gonna make our delicious buttery. Everything's okay back here. Don't worry. I'm gonna make our delicious buttery goodness. So what I'm gonna do is melt some butter in the microwave for like 30 seconds or 3 minutes, depending on what my microwave wants to do. And then what else I'm gonna need for this? I'm gonna need mayonnaise. Did you
Comment, sorry, no comment.
comment and cheese? Comment? Question?
Yes. How do you make corn in a broiler?
I've actually never made corn in a broiler. I'm sure it's possible. You just pop it in the broiler and let it cook until it's done, right? Like a few minutes. You might have to rotate it just like I'm having to rotate it here. Actually, random pet peeve of mine, I really hate cooking circular foods like corn and sausages because you have to stand there and like be aware of what you're doing. Random side. Sausages are even worse than corn because they're so tiny and then they only stay on one side. You guys, no one has that problem at home.
I just cooked the one side.
How should we cut them?
No, one of the families I used to work for like was really like anal about how they like their meats. Like bacon had to be super crispy and sausage had to be cooked all the way around. So I used to literally like it took forever. It was really annoying. Oh, yeah, you guys let me cook this butter for like 2 minutes.
We were watching
Is
the
that a microwave?
Popcorn.
Yes, I used the microwave to melt my butter for my elote. Just because I'm going to make it all in the same pot. Ready? Your question?
Will that butter and that butter taste the same?
No. You want to do taste test?
No.
No.
This one's for the corn.
This one's for the corn.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add in some mayonnaise, a healthy amount of mayonnaise. I know it sounds so disgusting. I know.
Can you use the brown butter?
It hurts my heart. Yeah, you could. I could have done that, but I know I like a lot of butter with my crab, so I didn't want to use. I just made more butter. But you could definitely use brown butter if you want
Are you going to make more butter?
it. Am I gonna make more butter?
For sure. We're running through all that butter.
Bring it back. So you definitely want to make sure all your corn is cooked all the way around. The other thing I want to add to this mayonnaise and butter situation is a little bit of lime juice. So I'm going to cut off the third and add that in there. So if you're like me and are not like a super huge fan of mayonnaise when you know it's there, it's probably better for you to eat this out but the mayonnaise is really necessary. If you like the taste of yogurt, you could use like yogurt, but it's going to be a lot more tangy than mayonnaise. Or you can do half and half. It makes you feel better because you don't want to just be eating mayonnaise. Question?
We have a comment from, I think this is Chris Coy. He said, that corn is loud.
Yes, the corn is popping. Corn is Poppington over here. Question?
Comment.
Comment?
A lot of comments today. Very interactive. Dean responded and said he's not on ships anymore. He's performing at New York City World Pride now. And he's going on tour around Europe and Australia.
At New York City World Pride?
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the city? He didn't want
He
to
has
stop?
not hit you up. You're not important. I think he's on tour, so it's probably
I see,
called
I see.
NYC World Pride. And he hopes you're doing well. And he needs to see both of us when he's in the Big Apple. You sure do. Let me know.
All right, so you're getting a little history from one of my ship friends, Dean. He's on tour with World Pride. That's cool. World Pride was just a few weeks ago in New York, and it was really fun. We had a blast in the West Village. So, a little back to real life cooking. If you're just joining us, we're making crab, steamed crab, and elote today. We are already steamed one batch of crab. Remember, crab is already cooked. So it took us about 13 minutes to make sure the clusters are nice and warm.
3 more minutes.
And then we're cooking another batch back here. We made a steamer pan out of aluminum foil. Now I'm making my elote delicious sauce. So what I have in here is mayonnaise, melted butter. I'm shaving some garlic, just 1 clove. Because like I told you, this garlic is kind of old, so it's going to be really strong. Question?
What are some good alcoholic beverages you can have with this?
Oh, good alcoholic beverages. So it's summer, so obviously rosé, duh. Sparkling rosé. What else? Have you guys seen blue rosé? Yeah, that's kind of weird. I haven't tried it. Margaritas, yeah. I mean, margaritas are good for any meal. And then I don't drink beer, but I've heard beer is really refreshing when you're eating like seafood or things of that nature. So I have my mayonnaise ready. This is important that you get all your things ready before you start making a giant mess. I have 2 different kinds of cheese here. Now typically in Mexico, the kind of cheese they use is Chihuahua cheese, which is basically like a soft yellow cheese, similar to like a feta. And then I told you guys like a cojita, which is a little bit harder, and it's more similar to like a Parmesan. So what I'm using, the Bounty of Harlem, I have some Parmesan cheese and I have this Colombian style cheese, which I googled and it said it was like the same thing as like a Chihuahua cheese. I mean, they're all gonna have slightly different flavors. Like cojita's a little saltier and a little harder, and Chihuahua's like more like a white cheddar. Question?
Question from Chris Coy. Is it possible to keep the crab warm while you're cooking the elote?
Yeah, why? You want to eat as soon as we're done? Yes, it's totally possible. So what I would suggest, if you're cooking for a lot of people and you are doing it in batches, I would suggest keeping your oven at a very low temperature, and then you can put it into a container like I have there with even just a little bit of water so it continues to steam, and then just hold it in the oven until you're ready to serve it all. I'm not turning on the oven because it's really hot. But if that's what you wanted, yes, that's what could happen. So I'm just using my rasp grater to get some of this Parmesan off. And then I'm also, so I'm gonna need 2 plates for this. And then this Colombian style cheese has some water in it, so I'm just gonna open over the sink. Question?
Time.
Oh, it's time to take out the crab? All right, 1 second. I said 1 second. All right, so in true real life fashion, I've never tasted this Colombian cheese. So I'm gonna taste it to make sure I like it before I rub it all over my corn. Yeah, like I said, they're kind of all the same. Question?
Question. What about spice for the elote mayo sauce? Are you putting spice in there, chili powder? What do you recommend?
Yes, I actually recommended for the recipe chili powder. One time I used cayenne pepper, which be very careful with that if you're not used to spice, because if you add a little bit too much, it's a lot spicy. Chili pepper is a safer way to go. Or not chili pepper, chili powder is a safer way to go. But be aware, there are several different kinds of chili powder. Like right now, I have a chipotle chili powder, which is going to be a little more smoky than like a regular chili powder. So yeah, I'm going to add that in. I'm actually going to sprinkle that on at the end because it adds a nice color to it too. But feel free to add it into your mayonnaise if you want to as well. So let me just move this up here, put all these cheeses together. And then I kind of want to mix them around. This is a little messy, obviously. More question?
Good time.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to take out the crab. See, if you're bad at timing, just get yourself a TT. Don't sit there and watch you cook, and then you'll never be bad at timing. All right, so I'm gonna take out these. I know they're definitely done. Yeah, these are for sure done.
So really you're just heating it up.
Yeah. It's already cooked, but you don't want to overcook it.
You don't want to overcook it because it'll become rubbery. This one doesn't really fit in this pan. Alright, we want every last little bit in here.
So 10 minutes
Yeah, 10 minutes is good. Another funny story about when I first started eating crab is Chris would always come back in and be like, no, you didn't eat that right. So make sure if you are not a crab expert, you're eating with a crab expert that gets every single piece of crab, because like I said, crab is pretty expensive. But it's way cheaper than buying in a restaurant. Like I bought the snow crab for $15.99 per pound. It's a really good deal. Out in a restaurant, you're gonna pay at least $24 to $27 for snow crab. All right, so let me show you the best way to do this here. It's actually to take off this corn from this area. Put the mayonnaise onto the plate, the mayonnaise mixture that you've made. I'm gonna need another plate. Now, I would hope that when you're at home, one of my pro tips, you should think about what you're doing while you're cooking. Like obviously I'm on a live stream and I like I said, I want to be really authentic and show you that it's super easy to do. But if I had thought this through earlier, I probably would have just mixed this mayonnaise on the plate, and then I wouldn't have to wash so many dishes. Because that's like the #1 complaint I hear about people cooking is not wanting to wash dishes. So if you just think like a little extra, then you don't have to wash as many dishes. All right, so we're rubbing our corn, and we want to make sure it's nice and coated in our mayonnaise, lemon, butter mixture. And then we're gonna just put that cheese on top. Again, nice and coated. That's why the plate is kind of better. And if you want, you could do a lighter coating, but why would you want to? My wolves are getting hungry back here. They're like, oh, there's not enough crab. Why are there only 3 corns? And again, if you wanted to put the chili powder, also some people put cilantro in here. I use cilantro a lot in real life cooking, but then it sits in my fridge after, so this week I just decided I didn't need the taste of cilantro as much as I didn't want to waste the cilantro in the later of the week. And then we're gonna make sure, like, this is literally the best part of the corn, so make sure you get enough on there. There we have our corns. Let me wash my fingers. If you guys weren't watching, I would probably lick them. I was cooking for myself. But then, of course, I would still wash them, but you know. All right, let's move this out of the way. Oh, the one thing I did want to say, if you wanted to make this elote vegan, you could use vegan mayonnaise, which is made out of like avocado oil or like canola oil, and there's no eggs in it. And you can use, everything else would be the same. Oh, and you can get vegan butter. There's a really good brand called Mykonos. And then nutritional yeast flakes would provide you that same kind of like Parmesan-y flavor. And it would be vegan for your vegan friends. All right. So we have our last bit of crab cooking. I wanted to I'm gonna keep this butter plain and simple until, you know, everyone decides what they want to do in this house right now. But I wanted to go over some of the things that people put in their butters, like if you're gonna smother your crab in butter afterwards. Old Bay is a must, of course. Old Bay is a mix. Obviously, these spice mixes are kind of like secret mixes, so you don't know exactly what's in it. But celery salt, spices including pepper and black pepper and red pepper, whatever that means, deliciousness in the thing. So Old Bay, Cajun seasoning, of course. What else I have? I have more paprika here. Seasoning salt, cayenne pepper. Be careful with the cayenne pepper because it's super hot. And like any of these like black magic seafood mixes would be really good too. So if you just wanted to play around with a combination of these, you can mix them into your butter. And then also I like lemon, but some people don't like the acid with their crab, so I normally keep my lemon separate. But if I was making for just myself, I would probably do this garlic butter that we just made, and then like Old Bay, maybe a slight spice of like cayenne pepper, but just only a little bit. And then you could take your crab legs that are nice and steamed, you could toss it all around in the butter, and then you would be ready to eat. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. Please do not use pre-chopped garlic for this. Like, I say this all the time, but this is really not a place for pre-chopped garlic because it's like super hard and doesn't taste like garlic. Question.
Can you show us, or are you going to show us how to properly open the crab?
Oh yes, I can try to show you how to open the crab. One thing before I'm going to move the crab or the corn away, but again, I want to sprinkle it with a little bit of that chili powder just for that smoky flavor. And we'll move this to the side for the moment as we talk about our crab. So, again, we have our cluster, this part right here. We have our legs, and then this will be the claw down here. The best way that I found to do this is to break off your legs, well, the way I do it, and then sometimes you get some of that clustering right there that you can just, this is just some good crab. Then, so then what I do, because this is the best part of the leg to me, it has the biggest piece of meat, so I'm one of those people that's like save the best for last. So I'll break that part off, and then I'll break this part off. Oh my God, so exciting. I got this little part. So this is now empty, but now you would eat this part. Sorry guys, I don't want to not eat it. And then I took this little part and then broke that off. Oh my God, this is so amazing. This has never happened before. And then you would eat this part. I'm going to stop eating because I need to keep talking. And then when I'm really hungry or when I first start eating crab, I even break off this little piece, and sometimes you get some right there, but that actually stayed in the claw right there. Or not in the claw, in the leg. So then what I would do is just bite that little tiny piece out. Like I said, when I'm really hungry when I first start. Now, this big piece, you just kind of break it in half. And then you kind of like wiggle the meat. Ah! Oh my God, this is like a record for me. And then you kind of just like wiggle the meat out. And you get that whole big piece. If you're really, and then yeah, you dip it in the butter, and then, oh my God, you guys, this is like the best. They're all like, oh my God, let us eat.
Is it over yet? Right?
And then, like, there's still more. No, I won't go that depth into it, but you cut that whole. You can take these off, and then this part you kind of just like break open. And there's all this like flaky meat in here. Now this is where you might want to use a tool to make sure you get all of that flaky meat out. And then, after I had so much success, I don't know if I want to open the claw because I'm never good at this. Question?
Comment.
Comment?
I don't want to interrupt your
Real
dinner,
life eating.
but it's
Real life
been
eating?
10 minutes.
Okay, we'll just turn that off while we get back to this program over here. So the claw, you can like pull out this part. Sometimes the meat comes out, sometimes it doesn't. And then this is where you really need a tool, or Chris's teeth. I normally just hand it to Chris like, babe, can you take this out for me? And basically you just want to smash right here, just very gently, because if you smash it too hard, you're gonna break the meat. Question.
Where are some good places to get fresh crab? Fairway, Whole Foods? Any
So,
recommendations?
in Heart, like, I'm very impressed with the quality of this crab. I got this on 137th and Broadway, and like I said, it was $15.99 per pound. I know there's a couple places called CNC. I've never actually bought crab from there. El Puerto on 125th and Broadway sells crab. It might be more expensive. I think everywhere, like, around this area. Questions? Oh, Whole Foods actually has really good crab.
The fresh crab?
Best,
or all frozen?
no, they're all frozen crabs. I don't know where you can get blue crab. We've never gotten blue crab in the city.
Oh,
Ship it.
Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland, Eastern Shore. You got to take a trip. It's not if you're gonna eat it, you got to eat it right. Oh, there's a restaurant called, well, not to make yourself, but there's a restaurant that has all you can eat blue crab from 12 to 4 in the Village, and it's called Fish. So if you're looking to experience blue crab, and it's like $30, so it's like a pretty good. You could literally sit there from 12 to 4. Because you guys probably don't have jobs either.
Have you done that before?
Yes, several times.
Is it only Monday through Friday?
Yes, it's Monday through Friday. So yeah, those are all the places that I would get crab, raw crab from in the city. And also, small endorsement for Claw Daddies, so good. the crab boil in Lower East Side, super delicious. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. I know my wolves are super hungry to eat. We made all of this delicious crab, and we made some amazing elote to pair with it in just under an hour. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Join us again in 2 weeks, Monday at 8 o'clock. Tell all your friends. Thank you so much. See you guys later.